They had the time off. We talked about them last year, and they didn't play some of the guys throughout the bye week or whatnot, and so they came out a little bit flat, and we kind of questioned McVay about his decision to rest some of those starters. But this time around, you know what I'm saying, they were ready to play, and they came out. You talk about this ground and pound game that they had, 200-yard rushers in a game, in a playoff game, against a team that's supposed to come in being one of the best rushing teams in the game. They came in averaging 5.1 yards a carry.
There's one guy in particular I'm very impressed with, and what I'm very impressed with is how he was able to stick it out psychologically. I didn't mean to hold a pen. But psychologically, and I have to talk about C.J. Anderson. Sam, you were talking about, in 1 year, this is his fourth team. He was let go by Denver in the spring. So for him to be able to be with this team, I think week 15, week 14, he hadn't even been there a month. Led this team in rushing, coming for their first playoff win this year, and you were just talking about Sean McVay needed this. I think that C.J. Anderson, he got a game ball. He deserved a game ball just for him being able to stick it through. I know one thing as athletes, you've been cut, you've been released. Certain guys do not want to work out anymore. They just really don't have football as their number one focus. But you have a guy like C.J. Anderson, had the year that he's had, ups and downs, and been able to show up for the Rams in a big situation.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And a lot of the narrative about this team is, it's just Todd Gurley. Jared Goff's not very, it's not about Jared Goff. It's about Todd Gurley. Well, Todd Gurley wasn't there for much of the game yesterday. Obviously, he had a great game, over 100 yards. But Jared Goff stepped up. And this was a matchup between two really good young quarterbacks. And Dak Prescott, he stepped up at times. But for Dak Prescott to take that next step, third down, 1 out of 10 on third down for the Dallas Cowboys. That's another reason offensively. Like you might say on defense, hey, this is why we're going home. This is why our season's over. But offensively, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're saying, you know what, guys? We got dominated on third down. Really, all the wild card teams could say that. That's been the difference. And it could have been much worse for the Dallas Cowboys than it was. There's promise there in Dallas. There's fixable things there in Dallas. But third down needs to get fixed if they're going to go where they want to go. And on the flip side, I mentioned Jared Goff. He stepped up. He stepped up as a runner. He stepped up as a thrower. I believe the future is bright for Jared Goff, and this narrative that it's just a running team because he happens to be under center for most of the snaps, that's ridiculous. Jared Goff can play, and he very much has a chance to take his team all the way.
Well, Matt, I think you're dead on with this Ram team, and they were absolutely impressive. But Dallas, one thing they need to do to improve this football team, learn how to run against 8-man spacing. Let's see some creativity in your run game. Are you kidding me? Zone play, zone away from Aaron Donald? Just give him a TFL. Yeah. And so to me, that has to improve. And I expected him to use the quarterback more in the running game also.
Just look at the creativity. You mentioned that 6 different people carried the ball for the L.A. Rams yesterday. 2 carried it for the Cowboys. It was Zeke and Dak. And Dak did it very little. So really, it's just one guy. And so if you got you're going up against the Rams, yes, it's Gurley, but it's okay to share the load. Take the load. Run some plays that are going to help your running plays later on in the game.